Welcome back to another episode of Star Wars Sundays here on the main channel. Certified Gumbo, brought to you by Starlight Beacon. Got my man P Rich with me today. What's going on, sir?
What's going on, man? Just, I'm living on that high, man. After that season finale of Mando, man, it's just been a man.
Yeah, I think we all are. So yeah, I mean, today we're gonna talk about the Filoniverse as a whole. We got some clarification on the release schedule for Boba Fett and The Mandalorian season 3. They are both coming out in December, and they are two separate shows. Mm-hmm. So Lucasfilm cleared that up. Good thing. We're glad to hear that because that was a point of contention and confusion for a lot of the fan base.
Yeah, I think with that, I think they're just going to do kind of what we've been seeing in the past with Mando, where we just start Mando probably in October, and then by the time we get to December, that's when, and then they'll like maybe they might start a little bit early, just so when we get to December, we have the Book of Boba for at least the whole month, and then probably end it sometime in January.
Yeah, it'll probably come out earlier in December. The rumor is that the season 3 is coming out on Christmas Day. It's going to premiere on Christmas Day next year.
Oh wow, I mean, that'd be a good Christmas present.
It would. So and I'm thinking that there's going to be some connections between the two shows. There was talk that Pedro Pascal is signed on to appear as the Mandalorian in multiple projects for Star Wars. So that opens up the thing, and this is why we're going to talk about the Filoniverse. That's going to be the topic for today. With him signing on to make appearances in multiple shows, that means, of course, season 3 of The Mandalorian. That means he can also appear in the Boba Fett show, and he can appear in Rangers of the New Republic, and possibly even Ahsoka.
Maybe some movies if they ever start getting some movies. They might just go ahead and throw them in there too.
Yeah.
Give me more Mando. I don't care. Give me more. Give me more Din Djarin. I don't care. Give me it all. Give me, dude. Like I said, I am ready to see Baby Yoda as a Mandalorian, just like, or Grogu coming back after like 40, 50 years, and he's just like puts on the Mandalorian helmet, and it's just like that'd be funny.
Yeah.
I doubt it would ever happen, but it's fun.
I don't know about him becoming a full-on Mandalorian, but I can definitely see him and Mando teaming up sometime down the road once he's completed his training as a Jedi. JB, I think one of the interesting things that they can do with Grogu, with his species being having such a long lifespan, like they can plug and play that character in multiple series. It can be the through line for the Star Wars universe going forward. Like, I mean,
he could Skywalker stuff.
Yeah, he could seriously be the backbone of the Disney Star Wars universe. Like, he can become, like, imagine if we got to see Yoda as a youngling and watch his progression all the way through to Return of the Jedi. Like, you literally can do that with Grogu. Like, we don't have to follow it like completely, like, step for step, but like him popping up with, Ezra Bridger and Ahsoka at some point, him, showing up with Luke. And I wouldn't be surprised if we hear that Sebastian Stan or another actor has been cast for an upcoming Luke Skywalker project. It just wouldn't surprise me at all.
And also, it's a way of going forward in terms of like past the sequel series, because I mean, Grogu by that time, he's probably maybe 100 years old, 120 or something like that. And so he could be starting a new Jedi Order, maybe Luke. It's easy to write, oh, hey, Luke, right when the whole Kylo Ren is going on, he's just like, Grogu, I need you to go off, like, just you got to stay hidden, you are the future, whatever, blah blah blah. They can rewrite some of those mistakes, and then past that we can get Rey in. Imagine seeing a series with Rey and uh, oh man, what's my boy who was done dirty? What's his name?
Finn.
Finn, yeah, Finn. And I mean, like, and that's a good way to bring him back into the fold. And a whole series with Rey and Finn and Grogu, that'd be kind of cool. I'd like to see kind of a new Jedi Order starting with that. Since that Skywalker book is just kind of closed.
Yeah, well, partially. It's partially closed. It's not.
Yeah.
I think we still got some more stories for the Skywalker saga.
Yeah.
In the future, and I think that with Grogu, I mean, for one, it has been confirmed in canon that not every single one of Luke Skywalker's apprentice from the temple were killed during the attack. It's also confirmed that Ben was not the one who carried out the attack. It was actually Snoke or Palpatine that was the one who destroyed the temple. But not all the Jedi were there present, and then not every single one was killed during the attack. And Ben actually helped a few escape before he disappeared. And then he reappears as Kylo. So there's a caveat there. Like, it doesn't say, we don't know how many Jedi Luke was training at the time. We don't know the size of the temple. We don't know if that was his first generation students. Like, I'm feeling like the Grogu is going to be in this first generation. We've got a 20-year gap between the destruction of the temple and this season finale. So I'm saying, let's say 15 years, Grogu can, achieve the rank of knight. And then he's off on his own adventures, and he's, discovering what it means to be a Jedi.
Now, at this point, can Grogu, obviously his species is unknown. And so by the time, in 15 years, would he be at that level of like communication? Because right now he's 50 years old right now, and he's still like cooing and cotton and everything like that. So, I mean, like, in 15 years, is it like he's 5, or is it like he's a teenager?
So
how does that work?
He would be like 5 right now.
Oh, he's 5 right now. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, he would be. No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. So each 100 year, every 100 years is like a decade for us, for his species. So yeah. So
he'll be
a
90 to like 10 when a teenager or whatever. Okay.
Now here's the interesting thing: Master Yoda was 100 years old when he achieved the rank of Jedi Master. Oh, so it's very possible that Grogu in these next 15 years can at least achieve the rank of knight, and then the next however many years, once again after the Skywalker saga, he can become a knight. And
I wonder if it was a little bit of something that made, like, because if he was already kind of being trained at the temple before Order 66, I feel like, and it says it went dormant. He went like pretty much is all black. I wonder if that's what kind of like stuck him in that child phase. And like, maybe by the time he was supposed to be 50 years old, he was supposed to be more developed and able to talk and communicate and, like, walk on his own. But him being in that, what I'm guessing, like a kind of a hibernation or slumber, whoever had him or something like that, that's what caused him to stay baby-like.
Yeah, I that's a good theory, but I believe I think what they mean by that is that he cut himself off from the Force. To hide his Force sensitivity, because Luke, like, it's a common thing for Jedi to do when they don't want to be detected by other Force users. It's just to sever their connection to the Force temporarily. Gotcha. It's always temporary. Like, so I can't sense your presence because like, if you're Force sensitive, right, like, you can sense other powerful Force sensitive beings that are near you. So if I cut myself off from my connection to the Force, you can't. I'm just a regular person. Like, you wouldn't know me from Jack over, on the corner. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So like, it's just a way for them to kind of sort of blend in. Kyle Kestis did the same thing with during the after the purge. Like, when that's how he was able to duck and hide from the purge troopers for so long until he opened his connection back up to save his friend.
Yeah.
But that exposed him, and that's what allowed the Inquisitors to show
what
up.
A waste that was. I mean, like, as soon as, spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't played the game,
for real.
it's just like, as soon as he did it, then his boy still died. And I'm like, oh man. You know, it's just like, you should have just went ahead and let that man die. That boy.
See, I've got Donovan here. Donovan, give me a nod if you're ready to hop in.
Mm-hmm.
All right, he's ready to go.
Okay.
Can you guys
Donovan, what's going on?
What's up? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
We can hear you.
Cool. What's happening?
How you doing? Good to see you.
Yeah.
Welcome to the stream. Finally, been trying to get you on for a minute.
Yeah. I have a behind the camera face.
Nah, man. What are you talking about? You got the knowledge, man. We here. We need you to impart some of the Star Wars knowledge.
Yeah, not all the knowledge, but yeah.
Well, yeah.
I tried to join Friday, but I was having some difficulties.
Yeah. So, how do you feel about season 2 of The Mandalorian? What are your overall thoughts?
I really liked it. I liked it better than the first season.
Yeah.
Because the first episode, when I saw like the Baby Yoda, I'm like, I don't know about this.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was much better than the first. It's in the right direction, for sure.
Yeah. So in the season finale, like, what'd you think about that?
Oh, dude, like I loved it. Like when I saw the X-wing, I was like, I was smiling so hard, my face was hurting.
Yeah, I think that was man, I feel like that's everyone's reaction to this. It was such a beautiful moment. Not knowing that Luke Skywalker is going to pop up, like it just seems so far-fetched, even though he was literally the most likely person to pop up in that moment, given the timeline. Like, I know me personally, I've had to subvert my expectations often now with the new stuff because there's not been a lot of continuity between the stories. Like there were a lot of things that were set up in canon that I thought would make an appearance during the sequel trilogy that didn't. And so I kind of just stopped trying to speculate and just like, all right, I'm gonna just watch and see what happens. Yeah, because I can't. I'm not, it's just nothing is really panning out the way I thought it would. And then now with the Mandalorian, it seems like everything is the continuity is there. We're seeing a lot of the same connections that Filoni and George Lucas would have made, during the Clone Wars animated show, as well as Rebels.
Yeah,
and even the novels and comic books have a certain continuity as well. There are certain characters and events that cross over between those genres, and it's just good to see it happening at this clip for the live action and the more mainstream content.
Took them like 5 years to find.
I know.
Right page.
Hey, yeah. But at this point, I'm like, you know what? Better late than never.
I know, and a lot of that, like you said, we had to like kind of drop our expectations because a lot of studio people would be like, no, you can't touch that character. We're going to use them in a movie. We're going to do this with them in a movie. And so I got used to that whole thing of like what DC was doing was like, oh, you can't touch that character because we're about to use them in this future length movie that we're going to do. We're going to use him. And so that's why I was like, earlier, a couple of weeks ago when we were talking, I was like, if they just give us a Luke Skywalker hand, I would have been satisfied in the season finale. Like if we just would have saw the robot hand come in and been like, oh, that's like just kind of like what they did for Boba Fett in season 1. If we would just heard the noise or got the hand, a little glimpse, and then that would have been in the season 2. I would have been satisfied. I would have been like, okay, cool, we're getting some connections. But for them to just come out the gate swinging and just being like, no, this is Luke Skywalker. This is him in the flesh, guys. Like we are not holding back. No character is untouchable now. And so, and that's what I love about the Mandalorian now is because now we have a chance to see all these actors and, characters that we saw in the movies able on the small screen now, so that's amazing. I think it's a great time to be a Star Wars fan. I feel like for people who are, it's a great time to introduce your kids to Star Wars. I feel like right now, get them all the way through and just be like, this is what you're in store for. It's just like, just buckle up, guys, because there's just more to come.
Yeah. Trev, what's happening, man? Good to see you. Thank you for joining and listening in. I know he'll drop a dime in the chat every now and then when it's when I have a brain freeze. So, yeah. So yeah, I think you're right. And my thing too, even though I was very disappointed with the overall execution of the sequel trilogy. I never really was completely um disengaged because of the books and the comic books in Rebels, the TV show. Like, and the video games. Like, I even liked I liked the campaign, although it was short, for Battlefront 2. I thought that was a really interesting campaign. I just wish that it was a longer form campaign that, where we actually got to play on the Imperial side for a little bit longer. But I think in general it was a good step. It kind of sort of caught me off guard because I'm not the biggest supporter of EA because they are they are that industry titan that just doesn't care. Yeah, like they do what they want to do, and whatever the fans and their supporters want, they just kind of sort of whatever.
When Disney bought them, I never understood why they got rid of LucasArts.
Yeah, so unfortunate thing about LucasArts was that it was in a very bad place financially when they acquired it, and so not to say that they could have probably did something about it, but I think in the short term, just from a money perspective, they had a partnership with EA. EA is really just the publisher. So it's not they are the exclusive publisher right now for Star Wars video games, and that's going to change. I think they got maybe a year or two left on that contract.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to. Yeah, I think it might be coming up this year actually, where it's ending.
I don't think it. I think it was like 5 years. I feel like something like that. So it should be expiring soon.
Yeah, and I'm just ready. And I'm just ready for some. That level. What was it level 27 or whatever it was?
13.
Yeah. Oh my god! Just give me that, guys. Come on. I know it's in there somewhere. No, that got canceled. Yeah. And there was supposed to be another version of that that got announced recently, and then that just went,
I think that game was I think that was a smuggler game. I think that was kind of like, I feel like that character that we were going to I think that was more of like a Han Solo archetype character that Visceral was doing. That's who. And these are all studios that EA owns that were working on these projects, but they're good studios. It's not like, but I think hopefully they'll renegotiate and then allow some other video game developers to throw their hat in the ring. I don't mind EA publishing because they're huge. So like, as far as publishing goes, that's a good option to have. But as far as the exclusivity, I don't know about that. I wish they would get BioWare more involved in Star Wars because they own BioWare. BioWare made Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2 and Star Wars The Old Republic. So they've got a good platform and a diversity of game developers in their wheelhouse. It's just, incorporating them more would be great. I was really hoping for another BioWare game. I know they're kind of tied up with supporting Mass Effect is their huge, that's their flagship, but like they still, release yearly updates for the Old Republic. So I don't know, man. I would, I hope that they do like a Star Wars Galaxies remake and re-release Star Wars Galaxies, because that would be hard.
Oh my god, the way when we were talking, dude, Star Wars Galaxies, the way we were talking about it, just like, not everybody can be a Jedi, but you can earn it though. And I think it's just, and then also that's a good way to bring a lot of stuff into canon. Like, you could bring in that whole, show me some.
People probably won't even put in the hours to be a Jedi.
Well, how much was how many hours was it? Over 100 plus to even.
The 100 would have been generous. Like it was ridiculous how many. Like, I'm telling you, like when the game launched, they were probably, I think they had well over like 10,000 players. I know easily, Like it was up there with when it launched, it was up there with WoW. Like they were, you know,
I
as
remember
far
that,
as yeah. So, but of the number of players that were playing, I think there may have been like 4 or 5 total Jedi initially, and so it was that hard of a game. You know, everybody in the game was grinding to become a Jedi, and people just tapped out because it was just like ridiculous, and it was a random roll too, like force sensitivity. That was a part of the mechanic, which made it even more grindy, because like, you know, it was a really, really low spec roll for you to get force sensitivity. And that would just start the quest for you. So like the probability was like super, super low to begin with. And then once you start down that quest line, it's a super, super grind. So yeah. What's up, Ma? Says,
hey Cheryl.
what's up, Donovan P. Rich?
What's
Shout
up?
out.
All right. So what's up with
what are you saying? Over at Engine Extension, AAA, IDAP setup. Yeah. What is IDAP?
I think he was saying that he was trying to test his he texted me that he was trying to test his text on the comment section, but
oh, interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. I texted him, I told him I was like, hey man, I think it's coming in all messed up. I don't know. I don't know what he's over there doing.
Yeah, it looked like some code. Anyway,
Freeman Wallet, what was your favorite episode of this season?
That's tough. I would, season finale at this point. But so if we exclude the season finale, I would say that my favorite episode is probably still episode 1 with the crate dragon, because that one blew my mind. I still can't believe that they threw a crate dragon in there. Because that was such a deep lore thing. Like I think that was such a way to start off this season too. Like introducing Cobb Vanth in Boba's armor, and like just everything. Like that season opened and set up everything for this season in such a interesting fashion. Even getting the Boba Fett tease at the end.
Yeah,
it was just a lot.
So I got something for you guys. I had a buddy post up on his page about the ranking of the entire kind of just Grogu arc, the whole 16 chapters. So I'm gonna name them off from best to worst. Let me see if you agree with this list.
Okay.
Chapter 16, the rescue. Obviously, that's the best right there. That's, you know, OG, the GOAT. The next one is chapter 13, the Jedi. 8, the redemption. Chapter 8.
The spider one?
No, 8 is the season finale. First
season finale. Oh, so this is season 1 and 2. Okay.
Yeah, season 1 and 2. Yep. Season 1 and 2. Next, number 4 is chapter 6, the prisoner.
Okay.
Chapter 14,
the homie Bill Burr.
Wait, time out. What? Hold on. They put the prisoner at 4.
They put the prisoner at 4. Chapter number 5 is the tragedy. Number 14. 6 is the siege. Chapter 12. What number are we on? 7. At 7 is chapter 7, the reckoning. After that is chapter 9, the marshal. After that is chapter 11, the Harris. Chapter 15, the believer.
That was my favorite episode of the season.
The believer.
Yeah.
After that is chapter 4, sanctuary, which is me. That was my least favorite episode, and I would have had that on the bottom. After that was chapter 5, the gunslinger.
That's the one they were on the Agrarian planet, and it was the 7. It was like the 7 samurai callback.
Which one? The sanctuary?
Yeah.
Where they had this. They meet fight
where he meets Cara Dune. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah,
that one was like I would have had that one on my bottom list. And I was after that is the gunslinger, which I would have had that kind of low too. Chapter 3, the sin. After that is chapter 2, the child. After that is chapter 1, the Mandalorian, the first episode. And then last, his least favorite episode was chapter 10, The Passenger.
There's no way 10. The passing. No, I don't know. I don't.
Yeah,
I
don't
know about that.
I wanted to comment, but everybody's entitled to their opinions. You know what I mean? So I was just like, the least favorite episode is The Passenger is kind of the I didn't like it. It was that Snow Planet episode. Really, I felt like it was but to put that, I feel like Sanctuary should have been on the bottom. You know what I mean? I feel like The Mandalorian was close to
it's hard for me to put any of season 2 episodes out of the top. I mean, The Passenger would definitely be somewhere in the season 1 episode sets up a lot, but all of the good, better. I mean, season 2 is just a better overall season. The episodes were far more dramatic. I don't know.
I feel like season 1 was more like halfway through. It was more like a test run almost.
Yeah, it was like they were just dipping their toe in the water. So it's hard for me to put any of those. Now, The Reckoning, of course, would be high up there for me. The Sin would be high up there for me. With the because especially for the scene with the Mandalorians coming in, sending off on jetpacks, just for that alone, it's up there with my season 2 episodes. But I think out of season 2, my top 8 my top 8 would definitely be all of the season 2 episodes. Minus the second episode in season 2.
Passenger, man. I just, like I said,
I would replace that with The Reckoning. I would put The Reckoning in place of The Passenger, and then
I understood why. I understood why that episode exists, but it felt like they took that from the first episode. I felt like that first initial episode was supposed to be just a little it could have been I feel like that season finale could have been, or the season start could have been one full episode, and then we could have had just another random. I just felt like there was
the only true filler episode though, honestly, because I mean, even in season 1,
the one with Grogu was eating the eggs.
Where he's eating.
When they crash land on the ice planet, that's really a filler episode. So I can see why that one wouldn't be in anyone's top, because I mean, even thinking back to season 1,
the character episode is just I understood why we met her,
because we do get an introduction. There's a character introduction, so I can't consider it really filler. But I think the episode where Din has to confront the Jawas so that he can rebuild his ship after they basically that's a filler episode, because there's no other character introductions. We already met Quill. That's basically the same as
The Passenger.
The Passenger.
Something goes wrong with the ship on both episodes. The Jawas take us out. The spider thing.
It's a detour for character development. And
exactly.
That's about it. So those two would be low for me.
Yeah. But overall, I mean, I agree with some of his list, but some of it was I just
let us know in the comment section, what was your favorite episode from season 2? Let's say if we exclude the season finale, because I'm pretty sure that's high up on everyone's list. If we can exclude the season finale, of the first 7 episodes in season 2, what was your favorite?
I think it would have to be the Jedi, man. I mean, that one was just Ahsoka, man. Just dude, just the way they shot that episode, man. I just love that one where she's just. I was like,
I just love that at first, but when I rewatched it, it kind of I think the opening action scene could have been a little bit better, but.
I mean, you know what? Honestly, I think I had the Believer ranked lower, but it is the one episode that caught me the most by surprise, as far as, I mean, if I'm taking out the season finale, because I had no idea Luke was coming. So that episode caught me off guard, because I didn't think it would have the dramatic elements that it did.
Hold on, what was the Believer again?
That's the Bill Burr episode.
Bill Burr.
Oh, Bill Burr. Yeah, Bill Burr.
Yeah, I wasn't anticipating that one. I didn't anticipate that one being that good. Because because it could have been filler, but there was so much good character development and having him question Mando, really question his belief, and it sets up the season finale so well.
The new hero of this generation.
Yeah.
Because I just love that scene when they're like sitting at a table and then just letting the scene just play out. Like you never really seen that before in Star Wars.
No.
Yeah. So that was like refreshing. Callisto says Believer was her favorite episode. Gunslinger intros. Wait. That's from season 1.
That's season 1. Yeah. Gunslinger episode.
Okay, so he said, Trev said, Trev Scott's episode 1. I'm assuming this is in order, Trev. Episode 1, episode 8, 7, and then 5. JBM's got the first and last episode, but if he's excluding that, it would be the second to last. So the first and the second to last episode, and then he's got Ahsoka in there. Okay. If you reorder those at first, I would say based off what he just put in there, I'd say the first episode, and then Ahsoka, and then the second to last episode in that order. Probably for him. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Which first and last episode and second to last episode. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. That second to last episode really caught me off guard, but in a good way. So that's up there for me.
Yeah.
But so episode 1 is still up there for me too, because that episode 1 was just that was just great. That was just great.
But it also just it goes back to that one conversation about how the Empire's armor is just so cheaply made. It's so funny to see Mando get hurt like that, where he gets hit with one of those sticks and his armor's breaking. I'm like, oh my god, I forgot he's actually in danger because he's not wearing Beskar anymore.
Right. He's so used to the Mandalorian fight style incorporates their armor into their defense and into their attack pattern. So he's just doing what he does naturally, and then it was like that moment of realization, like you said, as soon as it hits, it makes contact with his forearm and it shatters. He's like, "Oh, yo!" He got to adjust his entire strategy.
Yeah, exactly. And I thought that was some of the best combat we saw too. I just love that fact that I just love that little being able to see Mando just on top, being able to do that hand-to-hand combat. He doesn't have any of his other gadgets. He's naked pretty much, and you're able to see what he's truly about. He's unstoppable pretty much. He's just this living weapon. He's just amazing.
Yeah.
So pull some badass moments in there, just like when he took the grenade off and tossed it back. I was just like, yeah.
Yeah. So JBM said they're all equal, so he's not gonna rank them. That's fair. They have quality for different reasons. It's not the apples comparison for those episodes. So that's a fair assessment. I think most people will have that same assessment. If you're just now joining, we're ranking the season 2 episodes, and if you can exclude, of course, the season finale, because I would bet that 95% of everyone who watched season 2 has the season finale as their top. So excluding that one, what were your favorite episodes? I think JBM says first episode was probably the best all-around episode, had a bit of everything in the episode. I agree. That's why that one is up there for me, because it was just such an adventure. That was just a fun episode, man. It was just fun. I was just
everything.
Yeah, but that was the first time since in the finale, when there was the reveal of the Darksaber, coming off of that, really, and you get the introduction of Cobb Vanth. I knew who Cobb Vanth was because I read the Aftermath trilogy. And he's in an excerpt, and him wearing Boba Fett's armor. I knew he had Boba Fett's armor, that he bought it off Jawas. They changed the story a little bit in the actual season from what was in the book, but it wasn't that far-fetched of a change. But as soon as that crate dragon rolled through, like I was legit shocked that there was a crate dragon in there. Like I'm like, bro, they just pulled a straight up video game thing, like, and then they had a huge epic battle in a showdown with Tusken Raiders. I'm like, what is this? Like, what is going on, bro? Like this is wild.
You got to understand the Tuskens a little bit better. I mean, like you just
they humanized Tusken Raiders, like all of that stuff, man. It's just great. I was like, yo, this is amazing. Like this, instead of they could have easily just kept the Tusken Raiders, these savage, barbaric things that no one wants to take the time to understand. But like having Mando, like be able to communicate with them and reason with them and like know how to negotiate that. And they set it up in season 1 with the Gunslinger episode. So there's another payoff from that episode coming to fruition in season 2. Yeah. Like it was just amazing. Like
and then we got great Mando action at the end. I mean, like I was just like, did my boy just get eaten? He has to get out of this somehow. You know what I mean? Seeing that, that was just like, it was such a badass moment. I just love that moment where he just comes jetting out of there, electricity blows it up, and I'm like, yeah, Mando. And seeing everybody just cheering at them, just like getting the crystal. What was it? The pearl. The Tuskens grabbing that, everybody getting them a slice of meat off. It was just such a great episode. I enjoyed it. And then Mando taking him a little bit off. He was just like, I can eat this later.
yeah. And Timothy Olyphant did a great job.
Oh, he's goat. That's Seth Bullock. If you haven't watched Deadwood, you should watch Deadwood.
Yeah, he's always a sheriff. Like, so it's just a natural progression for him, of course, to pop up in Star Wars as a sheriff.
Let's not forget him, man. He was Hitman also too, man. He was Agent 47.
Like, I think he's gonna pop up in Rangers. I think
that'd be good. Yeah,
someone to recruit into the Rangers. I mean, he's basically already won in for Tatooine. Like, he may as well. It's just a natural, especially if they can sign him.
Or the Book of Boba, unless he's in Book of Boba. I mean, like I wouldn't be surprised.
I could see him in both shows, but
because if Boba Fett is getting payback on people, I don't know if Boba has encountered Cobb before. If he's like, hey man, I want my armor back. If he's ever approached him about it, or I just don't know that whole story of like why didn't just Boba just go and just manhandle, Cobb, man. It'd be like, give me my armor, boy. Take that off. But it was kind of weird.
They didn't like do like any inside joke about his faulty jetpack.
No, yeah, that jetpack was. Well, I thought Cobb said something that he's like, I don't really. That was already broken when I got that. Remember?
Okay.
He said, I don't know.
He did say that. Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like the pun was when Mando hit it with the back of it with the butt of his gun, and it blasted. Because it's the same thing that Han Solo did. Han just did it accidentally.
He was blind.
And, yeah. But it's same thing. So, and I think there's actually a patch on the prop where Han Solo broke the jetpack. It's like you can see it, like there's a metal patch going across the back of the jetpack.
Oh, really?
Where you hit it. Yeah.
Got to rewatch it and check that.
Yeah, where they had to solder the piece back on there.
That's cool.
Did
he hit it with his lightsaber though, too?
No.
It was Han,
Han just hit it with the butt of that rifle that he had.
Yeah.
So
hold on, now Boba, his jetpack ain't made out of Beskar either.
No, because none of his armor is really Beskar. It's like the off-brand.
Oh, okay.
Beskar.
Yeah, because
I kind of like how
Legends. In Legends, his armor was actually like it was an alloy of Beskar and Durasteel. It wasn't pure. It wasn't pure Beskar.
That's why they keep saying pure. It's not pure. If you have it pure, then it can go up against anything. If it's just like kind of.
He has like the little dent for the dual.
Yeah.
Trev says that.
I'm on like fight scenes. I really did like the fight scene between Boba and the other Mandalorian.
Oh, so hold on, yeah. Jango's armor is Beskar now, so he is wearing.
Yeah, they they did make that canon for the season, but like prior to like in Legends, Django's armor wasn't full Beskar. It was alloy, but they have since then said that it is now.
Oh, in the show, it is Beskar now. In the show?
Yeah. They've made it. They've made that canon that his armor is well. I don't. Is it pure Beskar, Trev? I don't know if they made that clarification. They just said it was Beskar. So now that we know that there's a difference between Beskar and pure Beskar, since Bo-Katan made that reference in the season finale, I guess that's also a thing. Yeah, so they did change that aspect of it from Legends.
Okay.
Yeah, so now that we've got clarity that the Book of Boba and Mandalorian season 3 are two separate shows coming out both in December, where do we think that the Mandalorian season 3 picks up? Where do we?
I think we're still on the bridge. I think that if they wanted to really hit fans, they would just open right up as Luke, the door shutting, and then Bo-Katan, she's just like, we got some business to deal with. What's up with this Darksaber business? You know, I mean, that would be a great way to start a season. I feel like just like immediately after that, we're back on the bridge and we're just talking about where we want this Darksaber business. And then, you know, you see Boba come back and, you know, he takes, you know, Fennec, and we already know what kind of happens with that whole thing. But yeah, I mean, I thought that would be a kind of a cool opener to kind of see Mando and Bo-Katan to just go at it, you know?
Yeah. Go ahead.
I don't know. I think she's probably gonna like be the more supportive role, and she's gonna like make Mando like take responsibility about Mandalorian. I don't see them fighting.
I can see her being that manipulative, like type of person, being like, you know, you should rule, or you know, you know what I mean? Because he seems kind of like he's easy to kind of manipulate a little bit. He almost has like almost a childlike, you know,
he doesn't really know anything.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He almost has like a little childlike, like he only knows like how to, you know, he just knows bounty hunting. You know what I mean? He doesn't know everything. Yeah.
No, well, he only knows the Mandalorian culture through the lens of the Watch, and that's a very different society than what Bo-Katan and her sister Satine grew up in, like, and Django. So I think that there'll still be some tension between the two characters. I believe that Bo will still have a desire to rule Mandalore, and I think that's going to create some sort of friction between the two. Bo and the Mando are going. I just feel like they're just going to be co-stars in season 3. Like I think we'll be following the adventures of Bo and Din Djarin, and you know them trying to rally the Mandalorians to retake the world.
Could you see Din using the Darksaber, starting to just get, you know, starting to use it all the time, or?
I could see that. I could see him using the Darksaber. It really all depends on whether or not they resolve the issue with Bo-Katan not having won the lightsaber in single combat. I don't know. I'm looking forward to the Mandalorian stuff because I want to get more into the Mandalorian lore. It's been referenced that, you know, during Boba said it in the season finale that the planet was glassed by the Empire. So like, you know, what's left of Mandalore at this point in time in the timeline? Like we've got to go to Mandalore in this next season. We've got to see the other houses and the clans, like who is the leadership, like where is everyone scattered, like are they going to try to go to more of the Mandalorian enclaves where the Watch, where are they going to return back to the Armorer? Is Din going to use his connection to her to recruit some of the children of the Watch to his or Bo-Katan's? Maybe they both rule together. Maybe there's some sort of love interest that crops up between the two. I mean, all these things are possible, but like they've got to unite Mandalore. Like I think these next 2 seasons of The Mandalorian, season 3 and 4, have got to be centered around uniting Mandalore. Whether that's under Bo-Katan or Din or both, like I don't care, but it's got to happen.
Probably like a co-op thing.
Yeah. I mean, I think they can work out their differences and kind of sort of rule together. We could see like an alternate version of Jon Snow and Khaleesi.
Yeah. That garbage
that
ending.
actually like and actually get an ending that we kind of will be satisfied with as a fan base.
And they set up so much stuff in that series too, where it's just like, ugh. Don't even get me started on Game of Thrones.
Yeah, Book of Boba might be a prequel series. Yeah, I've heard that. I think Josh also reported that it's did he report that, or is he just speculating that it's going to be a prequel series? I would, if it is a prequel, I think that some of the show will take place before we see Boba on Tatooine in season 2 in that first episode, like explaining what he was doing, why he didn't have his armor. I could see that. Maybe it's in flashbacks. But I don't know, because with him taking the throne and becoming basically king of the underworld, I think that I don't know if the show is going to be focused or it's going to be a prequel series, if you will. It might take place before the events of season 3. But I think it will run concurrent to season 3 of The Mandalorian at some point. If season 3 is supposed to be airing on Christmas Day next year for The Mandalorian, and the Book of Boba premiering in December, we'd be halfway through, assuming that it's going to be an 8-episode series, just like The Mandalorian has. By the time we get to the mid-season episode 4, Mando season 3 will have also premiered. So I could see them doing the first 4 episodes as kind of like filling in the gap between season 2 and season 3 of The Mandalorian, following the adventures of Boba Fett, getting some backstory as to where he's been, how he escaped the Sarlacc pit, all that stuff.
Yeah, kind of I would like to see that personally.
Yeah, and then we get into sort of him building his criminal empire, because I hope that's what he's going to do. I hope he becomes like the king of the underworld, if you will.
Replace Maul.
Yeah, and Jabba.
No.
Make him challenge the Hutts. There are other Hutt crime lords. Like, Jabba's not the only Hutt.
Yeah.
So that whole crime family, like, if he takes on the Hutts, like, that would be fire.
Jabba has cousins.
Yeah, exactly. We see the Hutt Council in the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
So, like, if he takes them on, like, that would be interesting. Like, I mean, Crimson Dawn is still out there. The Maul Shadow Syndicate, like, we don't know what the fate of that is. All of that stuff. So, like, that's, if we want to dive deep into the underworld of Star Wars, like, the Boba Fett show is definitely the place to do it. Like, that's a show that could actually teeter on that more mature PG-13 leaning towards R, if they wanted to go that route.
Yeah, that would be a great show. Wasn't there supposed to be a game or something that was just called Star Wars Underground? Like, what it was supposed to just
there was a show. George Lucas had started writing a show that was going to premiere on ABC prior to the sale of Lucasfilm. That was Star Wars Underworld, and it was just following the bounty hunters in the criminal underworld of Coruscant.
Yeah.
That became also, that was part of the storyline for 1313. So I think the game and the TV show had some connections. I don't know if you're following the same bounty hunters, but there were some connections and tie-ins to that. So I could see that happening with the Boba show. Just take some of those elements and concepts that George Lucas had created for that show, incorporated into this Disney Plus Boba Fett show, and I think we got an interesting plot line.
Yeah.
I think they're going to keep with the main theme of the show, then going on missions where we meet new characters and old. But this time it will be missions for Taking Back Mandalore. I agree with that. I think we should absolutely get more introduction to new Mandalorian characters, new clans. Like Sabine, I'm not sure Sabine is going to be in season 3 of Mandalorian because she'll probably be in the in Ahsoka show. But she has a brother, and her mother Ursula is still around definitely during this time period. Her and Bo-Katan are about the same age. Maybe we could get them. Finn Rao, Trev, that's a good call. Is another character that we could get in live action. We got House Rook, I think Bo-Katan did say she was the last surviving member of House Kryze. There's got to be other Vizslas out there. So I hope the big dude, because the big dude in season 1 that confronted Din Djarin when he brought back the Beskar, and they got into that scuffle. That dude he's a Vizsla. He's of House Vizsla. So I hope he survived so that they can bring him back into it.
So how do you think their interaction is going to go with like just that enclave, that just him in the armor now that he's been removing his helmet so freely now? What do you think in that interaction? Do you think that they're going to say anything or like go from that approach?
I hope they use that angle, because honestly, I'm not sure. It seems like that the Mandalorian numbers are so few at this point in time. Like even the exiled members of the Watch they're going to need all the help they can get. So like a lot of those old wounds from the Civil War are going to have to be addressed and mended. But the thing is, like, what we've seen with Din Djarin is he has a uncanny ability to unite people and to be the peacemaker. The way he's able to bring the Tusken Raiders into the fold and communicate with them and keep the peace between the Tuskens and the settlers on Tatooine. The way he's got that natural leadership thing, and I think that is, I hope that they play into that a lot in season 3, and him being able to find the middle ground and the balance between the Watch and the surviving Mandalorians.
And now that he has the Darksaber, maybe that's going to be kind of this rallying for that.
And he won it. And he won it in single combat. Like he has true claim to the sword and to the throne. Yeah. And he's like that humble. Like he's just so humble. Like he doesn't even want to rule, which makes him the more ideal leader. So I don't know. I think season 3 is going to be really interesting. I know a lot of people are bummed that we're not going to get Grogu, at least for the immediate, but it's not going to be the last we see that character. Yeah. Disney and Lucasfilm know how much merchandise money. But that money, that
development for Din finally. So that's
yeah. I think they have to do something with the Mandalorians. Like they've got to bring the Mandalorians into the main fold of Star Wars. And
everybody sees. Think about Boba. Like people love Boba Fett, and he was in it for he wasn't even in it that much. In the
Boba Fett sold a lot of toys.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think just having the series just built around that, I think this is what people want. Yeah,
and they can do it, and they can do it in an interesting way. Like this is, the Mandalorian politics and culture is very much like Game of Thrones and Star Wars, and so like there's, the template is already there. They just you've got the chosen one in Din Djarin. That is what they seem to be setting him up to be, which I'm 100% down for. To Donovan's point, like use season 3 to develop him and to make him more of a leader. And then there's going to be tie-ins because you've got the Rangers of the New Republic. There's got to be connections between the New Republic and Mandalorian due to Kara's connection to Din Djarin. Like the Rangers, in my opinion, should have a little bit more of a loose leash to kind of sort of navigate and do what they need to do out in the Outer Rim. So, we can get some Rangers of the New Republic tie-ins to help the Mandalorians take back their world. Thrawn could be a looming presence at this point. Like they set up a lot in this season. Like,
I think he's gonna show up at the end of season 3. Hopefully,
I wouldn't. So I wouldn't. I'm not opposed to it. I just don't. I don't know when does the Ahsoka Tano show come out? Because
based on when. Yeah, that's the key.
That's the key to when Thrawn
I'm not.
appears.
I don't know. I didn't look at the.
It's probably 2022 for sure.
Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah.
They have a lot. I think they're gonna right now. They're trying to push out this Marvel stuff right now, and I think we're gonna see a lot of Marvel, and then Star Wars back on that grind late 21, and then we're gonna get all of the Disney Star Wars slate going through early 2021 or 2022 type of thing. Yeah, because I think they're trying to all that. They're gonna because there's a lot of shows right now, Marvel shows that connect to those movies that are being released on that later half of those future films that are being released on that later half of 2021. So they want to go ahead and roll out TV shows now, and then they'll give us our Star Wars stuff in early 2022.
Yeah, they got to get WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier out before those next slate of movies because they're all connected. Mm-hmm. Yeah, hopefully, Trev. Yeah. Star Wars and Marvel get a cadence. I'm liking this 8-episode thing that they've been doing with these shows. I hope WandaVision is like 8 episodes. Like I hope the Marvel show is like 8 to 10 episodes. Like they shouldn't be any more than that.
I wonder if there's a episode count on. Let me check.
Did they ever say like what's up with the running time of the shows?
Why they're so inconsistent per episode? Yeah. Is that what it is? No. They probably. I don't know. I haven't looked too much into it. I've not had an issue with the run times because my thing is pacing is the key. Like as long as the pacing matches the writing and the
Oh, they said WandaVision is 6 episodes.
But even better. Like I think the shorter the better because you've got.
So that show takes place.
So that means that's like so. I think Falcon and the Winter Soldier is also 6 episodes as well.
Okay, let's see.
That's supposed to be a movie.
Yeah, there's a WandaVision that takes place before Infinity War. Right?
Yep, 6 episodes too. Yeah, it's all 6 episodes.
Yeah, so they're going for this shorter format, which I'm digging because I think that you get better storytelling when you can do longer episodes, and it's less filler. So like you're sticking to the plot, and you're just really.
The Coop froze.
Oh, my internet just like went crazy.
You back? Yeah, you're back now.
Alrighty, that was interesting. Are we still live?
Yeah, we're still live.
We're still live. All right, making sure, like, because it just. Hey, all right. So we just blacked out. That was wild. Yeah, I lost internet connection. Okay, we're back. Where was I? Yeah, it's just better. It's just a better storytelling format with those shorter episodes.
Yeah, because I think you won't have those episodes be. You won't. I mean, every episode, like you said, like how you were telling me about how Rebels is. Every episode is you need to watch because there is no filler.
It's no filler. Like everything ties together. Everything is important. Everything going on screen. Like it's not something that you just like play in the background and look over and all right, cool. That's what. All right, that's what because I did that a lot with Clone Wars. Like there were a lot of episodes I was just like, okay.
Yeah, Rebels is way better than Clone Wars.
Yeah, Rebels is like short, concise. Everything mattered. Like I think there's like one episode total that is filler, that I can think of. And
you think that's about it. Parker, have you watched Rebels?
I think I just watched the episode where they got that new red ship where they were like delivering like a shipment down to like a food supply to one of the planets, and they had this They have this new red ship that like has this laser beam that is like taking it down Star Destroyers. I was like, whoa!
Oh, the B-wing episode.
B-wing.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay,
what season is that? I forget.
That's
season
2. Yeah, season 2.
Okay.
Because Hera goes to get to the Mon Cala shipbuilder on that strange planet that has like all that planetary interference. It's very hard, and like she has to convince. I thought that was a really good episode. Like that was,
I enjoyed it.
It was such a good character development episode for Hera. Like, and then you get to get more into her backstory and her passion and love for flying and like all of that. So I thought it was great. It's a great episode. But yeah, like it's just so much. Like that's where I say, like, on every episode, I feel like of these Star Wars Sundays, this show was running concurrent to the sequel trilogy. And I would look at these episodes, and then I would watch these movies, and I'd just be like, I don't understand where the disconnect is happening, because like this stuff is so good over here on the animation side. Like, where is this type of storytelling on the other in live action?
So did we see more? Okay.
What's that?
I was gonna ask, did we see more of that B-wing? Is that gonna be something that we play like that's like stuck in, throughout the series?
B-wing. So the B-wing makes its first appearance in Return of the Jedi.
Oh, does it?
Yeah. It's a very, you barely notice it. It's literally like you have to pay attention to when the Rebel fleet jumps into hyperspace to engage the Death Star.
Mm-hmm.
You can see a few of the ships, a few of the B-wings in that procession before they jump into hyperspace. Like, and that's the first time we see the ship in canon.
Oh wow! Okay.
And so for them to incorporate that in Rebels was cool. I like that they made the A-wing the first, the primary ship of the Rebel Alliance prior to acquiring the X-wings.
Like the A-wing, a little bit more of the X-wing, but
yeah, the A-wing, I that was my favorite ship on Rogue Squadron. That was like my go-to, and then the X-wing.
Because every time I did like Slave 1, I get hit all the time. Like I dodge anything.
It's such a fast ship though. Like they're fast. It maneuver like crazy.
Speaking of ships, do we see the Ghost in the Rise of Skywalker at that ending?
Yeah.
It's
like a little. It's also in Rogue One too.
It's also in Rogue One.
Oh wow! Okay, cool.
If you blink, you'll miss it.
Yeah, it's when you see it when the Rebel ships drop out of hyperspace above Edu, or not Edu, Scarif.
So is they're in there, the whole crew?
We don't know. You just see the ship.
We don't know. You just see the ship.
Okay.
We know Hera is piloting because who else is?
Yeah, exactly.
That's about it. And there's actually, if you listen in Rogue One, in one of the scenes when they're on Yavin, you can hear someone calling Hera General Syndulla over the intercom.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah. Which I love that. It was great. I remember hearing it
if we get to see them in Ahsoka.
Huh?
I said finger crossed if we can see her in Ahsoka.
Yeah, I can't. Oh man, there's some other things I want to see too in Ahsoka, but I can't say because spoilers. Because I know
watching people getting through
it. Yeah. You know what I've noticed? The Mandalorian would not be as good if it wasn't for the Clone Wars.
Like, I guess what he's trying to say is if it was just straight, like if we never had any of that Clone Wars or Rebels and it was just Mandalorian straight, like, you know what I mean? If it was just a straight, I think that's what he probably means by that. Like, because it would just be introducing a lot of characters or a lot of things that we've never seen before. We'd be like, oh, who's this person? Who's that? You know what I mean? It'd just be, everything would be fresh and new, but since we've seen it in Clone Wars and in Rebels, it's fun and exciting. And everybody's like, oh my God, did you see that? Did you see that? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Cat says for me, Rebels is a 6.5 out of 10. It's okay. Clone Wars is a 9 out of 10. I just don't like how they nerf the clones and are very inconsistent with certain parts of the writing. It's like only 3 clones in Rebels. I thought. I mean, Rex. I wouldn't consider they nerfed Rex. Yeah, that's interesting. He also asked, why did the rebels strip down the Republic bombers? Were they that poor? They didn't strip the bombers. The Empire was had discontinued the bombers and they were stripping them for parts. And then the rebels end up stealing the ships from a scrapyard. But the Empire had already basically taken off all of the heavy armor. And I think they use a lot of it they use a lot of the heavy armor, melt it down, and add it to the Death Star too. So that's a. Kalisa says switch that rating, and I agree. Yeah, I don't even know. I wouldn't put Clone Wars at a 6.5. That's like it's a solid 7 for me.
And they had like a lower budget too.
Yeah. Rebels had no budget. They didn't give that show a budget at all. So they did what they. I mean, they had budget enough for one planet in the first season.
Yeah,
so it's like, they cut a lot of corners to make that show work, and the writing for me made up a lot for the lack of worlds and just overall Star Wars stuff. Yeah, Rebels. I'm assuming that it's like. It has filler too, but it's mostly good. Yeah, like it doesn't bore me. This filler. Sure. There's one episode that I'm like, I could have did without, but I'm not. I can't even remember what season or episode it is, but it's one with droids. Clone Wars is number 1. You have to watch in chronological order. Otherwise, episodes in the first 3 seasons are like all over the place. That is very true.
Yeah.
The first 3 seasons are not in chronological order. It's weird. It's hard to follow.
Yeah. I had to watch. I had to get a guide to.
Especially with the ARC, because the ARC Trooper thing that was the first thing you notice. Like I think season 4 or 3, I think they have that first. The ARC Troopers in training. And we've already been introduced to all of these characters, and it's like it just there's a time jump. They don't explain that there's a time jump. They just throw you in it, and it's like, wait a second, why are we getting introduced to these characters? I thought I already knew who these were. Oh, we went back in the past.
Yeah.
Thanks for the heads up. I follow now. Trev says they're both at a 7 and 8. What do y'all? Well, yeah, Donovan, you've seen both shows, right?
Yeah. Well, I still haven't seen the last season because I was waiting for my brother to finish.
Of the Clone Wars?
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay. Well,
I mean, I've seen the last still of the last episode.
Oh, in season 7. Yeah. Where would you rank it? Because now the chat is ranking these episodes.
The only I would slightly give Clone Wars over Rebels just a little bit, just because it just helps the prequels a lot more. But I still like Rebels over Clone Wars.
Yeah, I do like the Clone Wars. I do like the Clone Wars for that. Like it just fills in a lot of the gaps from the prequel movies. Being that they just skipped over the entire Clone War in the we see the beginning of the Clone War, and then the next episode we see the end of it. And then the show just fills in that because it's a 3-year-long conflict, so like there's a lot that happens that we just don't get to see on screen.
It makes gives more the third one a lot more ground.
Yeah, there's a lot more depth, and you get the introduction to you get to know the Jedi that we see on screen die during Order 66. We get a lot more of their backstories, and we get to know them more. Like Plo Koon became one of my favorite characters because of Clone Wars.
Really? Because when I used to play Jedi Power Battles, I hated him because he was so slow with his combos.
Yeah, he was very slow. But he had that one where he did where he like he'll stab you and then lift you up. That thing, that move.
Yeah.
yeah.
But his design was cool. But he was just.
Yeah. Yes, it's the Space Whales episode. That's the one that I'm like, oh god, I can't. That's the only one for me. That's where that one is truly filler to me, and I'm like, I could have did without that episode, but that's the only episode in Rebels where I just don't.
The space, that was weird.
Yeah,
it was like fitting, but it was just like
you'll see.
Okay. I should skip that episode. Huh? She's like, man,
no, you can't. You can't skip it. You can't skip it. It's you have to watch it because it does come back later in the.
Yeah, it does.
It does. It plays a part later, so you can't skip it.
Okay.
In a good way. Very good way.
I didn't mind the Lando episode, but you're right. The Lando episode is a filler episode, but I didn't mind it. I enjoyed it, and I loved hearing Billy D reprise his role as Lando Calrissian. So, I just love hearing that cool voice. You know what I'm saying?
But that episode was required because I just watched an episode where Israel was pretending to be Lando.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's a filler episode. But it's enjoyable, and I just like seeing Lando and hearing Billy D. He sounded good too, man. He sounded like vibrant and young.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
They might have tweaked his voice a little bit, but
they probably did in post. But if they did that, they did a really good job of in post. StarWars.com has the chronological order for the Clone Wars. Awesome. Yeah, the movie releases like the second arc. Okay, yeah. Callisto, your arc is your rating is opposite of Cad's. Yeah, I would say I couldn't. Yeah, nine is I wouldn't give either of the shows a 9. I think for me, Rebels is like 8.5. And then Clone Wars is probably like a 7.5, and it's a 7.5 because of season 7. It gave it a full point for me. Because that last arc in season 7 is just that good.
Yeah.
It's just that good. Yeah. So now
my question is, now that I'm thinking about it, we're talking about connection to the Force and things like that. You're telling me that Ahsoka did not feel Anakin being, redeeming himself in the Force?
It depends on where she was and what she was doing.
Yeah, because spoilers. I can't really.
That's nothing. Can't really say why she may not have.
Because we're all
I would be able to answer that. I could give you a little bit more, but I can't. So good catch, guys. I literally almost said some things that would have spoiled that for you. So I'm going to let you finish watching that show, and then maybe we can come back to that question later.
That's also a good point, because I really want to see like Ahsoka and Luke together.
I do too. Yeah, I was talking about that after the season finale, because like she doesn't know that Anakin has been redeemed,
and Luke also like
know. Luke doesn't know his parents. Like he doesn't know his mom. He doesn't know like what Anakin was like. Ahsoka has firsthand experience with both of them. Like she has a really, really strong relationship with both Padme and, Anakin. So it'd be really cool to have them have conversation, talk about it, him tell Ahsoka that in the end he was redeemed. Maybe even have Hayden Christensen appear as Force Ghost in that episode. And then because if Hayden Christensen appears as a Force Ghost in the Ahsoka show with Luke and Ahsoka on screen, and like if Ahsoka starts crying, I'm gonna cry. I'm not gonna, can't even lie. The feels of that.
Because it'd be kind of, because I want them to go into like the attachment too, because how like Ahsoka was like attachment.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
And then also attachment helped him get out of the dark side.
And that's what she doesn't know. That's what she hasn't been.
I'd like to see that conversation.
Yeah,
that'd be pretty dope.
Yeah.
Like
okay, Trev. Yeah, Trev, you do have a point. You do have a point because we don't know what she was doing during the original trilogy, so we couldn't technically answer that fully. Your question earlier, P. Rich.
Okay.
But there's some context that we could add to this discussion, but we can't do that. Referring to our earlier points about Rebels. Yeah, well, yeah, you're right. We don't technically know that she doesn't know, but why I think she doesn't know is because of what she said to Din Djarin about emotions. It seemed that the way Rosario delivered that line, I think she was directed to deliver it in a way that, Ahsoka would not know that, Anakin was redeemed. I think that we're going to see that in the gallery too. I think they could explore that, which premieres on Thursday. Season 2 of the gallery for the Mandalorian. Christmas. Wait, when is Christmas? Is that Thursday or Friday? That's Friday, right?
Friday.
Oh, wait, yo, we could do that. We could recap the gallery episode. Yeah, I would dig that. Because I like that behind the scenes stuff, man. I love that the season 1 of the gallery. They also talked about how they've expanded the volume, and it's now what they call it, screencraft or stagecraft. I don't know what's called.
You talking about is that the projector stuff?
Yeah, but they've increased the scale of it now. And they've got they got studios in LA, Australia, and I think somewhere probably in London. Now, and they've doubled or tripled the scale of it.
I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing technology. I mean, it literally felt like
it's game changing.
Yeah, and it felt like we were always on a live planet. I like, it didn't feel like they were behind green screen or anything at any time. It felt really it felt every episode looked amazing.
Hey, that's what shocked me. That's what elevated, honestly, the season 1 for me, because when I watched the gallery and they talked about the volume, I thought that they were on location. Like, I thought they were on location, bro. Like,
they just built that stuff.
Yeah. I was like, what? But my mind was blown. I was like, yeah, that's crazy. And then they talked about how, because everything is up on the display, like the lighting is all natural. So like they don't have any of the issues with the foreground that you would have on the green screen or blue screen. Like it's, there's issues when it comes to light and foreground with that. But now they're rendering in the sunlight so that it's, and because the screen is up on the screen, like it reflects naturally off of the surfaces on the, the armor and the clothing and the actors on set. And I was like, yo, that is incredible.
The first episode of freaking The Mandalorian, I really thought they might have been at somewhere with some snow. Like it looked that good. And the second episode, or even that when he gets to the planet to look for Yoda or Grogu, I was like, did they film this in Nevada? Like, did they film this at the Red Rock?
And even the Sanctuary episode, all that's done on the volume. I'm like, that's incredible. Like, because it doesn't look like, Uncanny Valley. Yeah. Like, what? That was all done in a studio. Like, that's incredible.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, and they even talked about like how they the crew on set would get confused sometimes, like when they had everything rendered out on screen. Like they talked about, you remember they were talking about how there was they were on set on the prison episode, they're in the hangar, and like there's something starts smoking on the screen and somebody yells fire. And like they pull their like alarms and everything, like, so I'm like, yo, it's that good. And you can tell it helps the actors too, because they do have something to reference, like that.
I'm just excited to see the lightsaber battle between Luke. I'm ready to see that episode because I really want to know how just him going against all the Dark Trooper. I'm just like, how did they film this? You know what I mean? Like just everything, like, you know, when he's turning around and the blaster reflect, it's just like, I'm over here trying to think as a filmmaker. I'm like, how did they choreograph this whole fight? Like, I just wanted to know this thing. It was just, man, it was such a great. I watched that scene probably like 7 times already, and I was literally rewinding it like back and forth and rewatching it. It play a certain dude. I posted it in the Discord. That song that's playing through that whole, you know,
the score was incredible for the entire season.
Oh my god!
Ludwig Göransson he's incredible. Like he's incredible.
If it's still leading up to the sequel trilogy, it all means nothing.
Well, I mean, it does have the opportunity to kind of sort of give context to a lot of stuff that we don't have context for. Mm-hmm. Not to say that it won't. The chances of it swaying anyone's opinion of the sequel trilogy are slim, but I think added context will at least help. I think the Clone Wars did that for a lot of people. The TV show, like, it added context to the prequels and it got people to enjoy the prequels a little bit more, at least.
Did we have a little bit of a callback during episode? Man, what was the episode where they blow up the? Let me see. Is it the Siege? The Siege episode on this past season where they see the clones in those test tubes before blowing up the station? Yeah, is that kind of a callback to like Rise of Skywalker, where, like, you know, where
it's Snoke. They're working on. That's what that is. And because Palpatine he's got all of these laboratories across the galaxy where he's experimenting, and I think that this is probably one of those facilities. Yeah. And so, like, you know, that's just one location.
So this whole arc, is that kind of just him? Like, that's the reason why we got that whole, you know, because Mando kind of just disrupted that whole, you know, he just like, oh, he's the reason why we got Snook and everybody like that. You know what I mean? The way he looks anyway, he's all deformed and everything like that. It's because, you know.
Oh no, because of he
interrupted. No. Because Mando kind of interrupted their kind of like the process. He was in the middle, like they were in the middle of doing everything with baby Grogu, and then, you know, they didn't realize, you know, he threw a wrench in it. You know what I mean? Just, he's like, nah. So that's why, I don't know. Is that kind of does that make any sense?
Delayed it, but no, so as far as are you saying like Snoke is disfigured because of what happened in that episode?
Yeah, well, in the series is that they just didn't finish, like, you know, he could have been like, he's just like this off brand of him, you know what I mean?
No, that's actually not. No, that's so Snoke ends up being created on Exegol, but they need the child's blood, is what they're implying, in order to create Snoke, because Snoke is actually supposed to make an appearance at some point in this time period.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, Luke meets him around this time. Like, Luke knew him prior to Ben even joining the temple, and that's in canon. So Snoke is going to make an appearance probably. I mean, I'd imagine at the end of maybe season 3. I don't know if he'll show up in season 3, but I think that there'll probably be. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a Luke Jedi Academy show, and then they introduce Snoke into that show, because stuff. Yeah, because they say too that we see this show is going to set up the First Order as well. Mm-hmm. So the Mandalorian is supposed to set up the First Order, and I think we're seeing some of that.
Well, we all know that Palpatine is.
Yeah, so Palpatine is really Snoke. He's the one behind the scenes, once again, you know, pulling the strings, which is where I think, you know, they can do a better job of contextualizing all of that. And setting up the secret trilogies.
Just to be like, that never happened. Like, what are you talking about? And then have like Snoke just be a Darth Plagueis. Just pretend like it.
Just never happened.
Just like that Larry David episode when you show up to work when you got fired yesterday. Just pretend like nothing happened.
Oh, just pretend like
yeah. I don't know. I don't see. I don't. They're
no,
not
I don't think that's like it's gonna happen.
They're not gonna retcon it.
Wishful thinking.
Yeah, there's the only thing that they would do moving forward instead of retconning is just to, just continue creating this universe. Yeah, like just flesh out the universe and go in other.
Could do, but that's like another spoiler in Rebels. I'm thinking like they could possibly, but I don't know.
No, they're not going to change the timeline. That's not going to happen. No, that means they made billions of dollars off of all three of those films.
Yeah.
So, and the characters, the biggest issue people have with the sequel trilogy, for those of us that do have like rational issues with the sequel trilogy, is the story and the lack of planning.
There is no.
Like I mean, they didn't have a true to form plan and roadmap for the sequel trilogy. Like each movie was its own thing, and then they tried to make some connections. But it's just not a cohesive, well thought out story, and it shows. But
it definitely does, because I just want like, what the hell is light speed skipping?
Yeah, it's just a bunch of stuff that just didn't make sense. That's like low on the list of things.
Yeah. No, it's very. I was just like,
yeah, no, I'm saying like that's a good point, but it's like I totally forgot about light speed skipping until you just said that, and I'm just like, that was a thing. That was a thing.
Because like when my brother was like, you want to watch it? I was like, no, I don't want to watch it. Just watch it. And then I'm like,
which one? The Rise of Skywalker?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when we went to the theater and saw.
Well, I know.
You remember
I watched it when I was on the bus.
What movie? I thought we went to see one Star Wars movie. And we were just like, let's just go watch it just to go ahead and get it out of the way.
No, I remember we went to see the last Jedi, and then when we got out, I was like, I don't think I want to go see that again.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, we were just like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
like, that throne. There are some moments in all the movies that I really enjoy. You know what I mean? There's some moments. I mean, I really enjoy Force Awakens because I thought they had a really good. I think that was a really good movie. I was like, oh, okay, this is great. If they're, but then when I realized they didn't have a plan for the other two, that kind of just threw all that. I just, oh my god, they kind of, I don't know.
I rewatched The Force Awakens and like I liked it when it came out, but when I rewatched it, like
did. It was like, okay, this is a great opening.
But every moment with Finn makes me cringe. Like I cannot for the way they handle that character, it just makes me cringe every single time. I cannot watch that. I can't even finish watching The Force Awakens now.
Yeah,
like,
and it's like such a cool concept too. Like,
yeah, and the way they made him so attached to Rey just felt really unnatural.
Like, it's not even like that's not even my issue with it. My issue when he falls over and like starts drinking out of the latrine with that and I'm just like, why is this even in here? This is not even funny, bro. This is just disgusting. Like,
the little water trench when he's in Jakku.
Yeah, like,
for
what? Like, why is that even in there? Like, I don't understand. That drives me crazy. Like, that's just like, I can't stand that movie. Like, just for the treatment of that character. Like, that joke is just crazy, man. Like, and then I mean, like,
he was a sanitation stormtrooper or something
what?
Like that. It's like, and that line didn't make any sense because I'm like, if you're a sanitation stormtrooper,
why are you out on the kill squad?
Because you contradict what he like. He's he's one of the most promising. Like, the backstory is he's one of the most promising stormtroopers in the First Order, and then but he was a janitor. Like, what?
Yeah, he was a janitor, and then
what?
But he was shooting, but he was right there on the attack with Kylo Ren.
Yeah,
You know
that
what I
makes
mean?
sense. Why, if he's a
Why would a
janitor,
janitor
like,
be down there on the? You know what I mean?
Yeah, like why? So you got so now you got a janitor on detachment with the second in command of the entire. Like what? How does that even?
The bodies, man. You got somebody come clean up
That's
the bodies.
crazy. And then something like when he's on the why and he's sweating like 24/7. Like he's never
He's
not
always
sweating.
listening.
I'm just like, why is he always out of breath sweating and just like I don't understand. Like they treated him like Jar Jar.
And both black characters. Both black.
It's like
They're
what
both black.
is that?
Yeah. They did, man. They do their characters, man. You saw how they did Mace Windu? Just threw him out the building.
They didn't, no. Mace Windu was no. That's not even.
Dude, I think
I've never seen a black character in Star Wars treated the way Finn was treated. I've never seen that.
Yeah,
never.
Dude, I'm trying to tell you, the old Cartoon Network, the 10-minute animation stuff that was leading up to Revenge of the Sith, and that one episode with Mace Windu when he loses that lightsaber. And he's like, the Samurai Jack stuff, and he's fighting all those droids by himself with his like the force punches and the force kicks, and he's just making them like he's using he's taking out the nuts and bolts and throwing. Dude, I thought that was the best like Mace Windu I ever saw in my life. I was just like, give me this Mace Windu all the time. Give me a Mace Windu series, and that would be amazing. Oh man,
yeah,
I love that. That was a good one. But yeah, dude, I'm totally on board. I totally feel you. That the way they handled Finn, especially in that last movie, I was just like, and he kept just going around talking about, I gotta tell Finn something. I gotta tell Ray something. I'm like, well, just let's hear it. And then he never say anything.
That was honestly, but the last movie was honestly the best depiction of him on screen. Like the first two movies is awful. It's terrible. It's terrible. Like I can't even finish watching the first one. Like, and the wild thing is, like, at least he's not in the Last Jedi, not constantly sweating profusely, but they send him on a dummy mission. Yeah. Like that whole sequence with him and Rose, like they treated him and Rose like horribly. Like why would that whole mission doesn't even make sense? Yeah. Like that was completely unnecessary.
Yeah. I went and saw it again in theaters, and literally I passed out right at that point. just that whole section of the movie is boring and just like unnecessary to me.
Yeah, it was clear to me that though at least JJ seemed to be trying to set Finn up to be force sensitive in The Force Awakens. Like it was strongly implied that he was, and I thought that they would carry that through line into the next movies, but nope.
That's what I thought too. I mean, like he had that lightsaber, and I'm like, heck yeah, let's do it. But then they like had him like TKO for like half the movie, where he was like in the healing tank. You know what I mean? Because
yeah, and then he wakes up and like he falls out of bed.
It's like dragging like water everywhere, and it's like so where's Ray? Where's Ray? Where's Ray? And he just like keeps at him like
he's walking like brainlessly through the hallway, and like all soldiers, people just walking by, like not saying anything, and he's just walking like a zombie. And the first thing he says, "Where's Ray?" I'm like, "Where's Ray?"
What is the obsession with Ray? Oh God, I don't know. That was I understand your. I'm
like, is that the only thing in this movie? Is this the only thing he can say? Like that's all he can say? Like, that's insane.
Probably has Ray in his in 90% of his lines, and all throughout the whole course of all the movies. Yeah,
that's the majority of his dialogue.
Yeah, where's Ray? I gotta tell Ray something. Come on, but anyway, I'm
moving on. A little off topic, but I have the Book of Secrets of the Jedi, which is the rest of Luke studying the Jedi. He talks of Ahsoka. So they don't meet directly. Yeah, Trev's right. He just knows of her. Like so in that book, that's a pretty cool book. It's the Book of Secrets. I believe that's what it's called, but it's basically all of these Luke gathering all the knowledge and information of the Jedi Order, like its entire history, and he gets a pretty good baseline for all of the Jedi on the High Council during the Clone Wars. Like a lot of the Jedi that we see in the Clone Wars, he has excerpts on, getting to know them more. Mm-hmm. He's trying to understand what happened to the Jedi Order, where they went wrong, like how this all fell apart, so that he doesn't repeat the same mistakes. Mm-hmm. Like that's the whole. And then he ends up doing it, but because this is hindsight, this book is written technically after The Last Jedi happens. It's kind of like almost a pointless thing. But where did Donovan just go?
I don't know. He probably has some internet connection problem.
What just happened? All right. Okay.
Yeah, that's in this. I mean, like what we saw of Luke in the Last Jedi. After hearing you talk about that, it's just like, where character just does a 360. It's like you read all the material, so why are you now just
that's where it's just like
your out the this whole thing, where's Luke Skywalker? Like that was like I'm when they're setting that whole thing up in Force Awakens where he's at, like where is he, and then
better way to handle it. It was just a better way to handle it. Like
for sure.
Because I understand him going into exile. I don't have a problem with Luke going into exile. It's it's his reasoning for going into exile that threw me. Like I'm thinking like, all right, Yoda has realized that his mistakes, he and Obi-Wan realized their mistakes during the Clone Wars led to the destruction of the temple, and that basically their time had passed. So they were doing what they could in exile to prepare the next generation of Jedi. And we're basically letting everything within the galaxy unfold and allowing the Force basically to balance itself. Right? Like them reconciling the mistakes that they made during the Clone Wars, them learning from Qui-Gon, them realizing that Qui-Gon was basically, if they had listened to Qui-Gon, they would probably have been better off. But now they're learning from Qui-Gon Jinn how to be more connected and in tune with the Force, and learning how to become a Force ghost and how to continue beyond the physical world, right? What is Luke doing? He's just
it's like the last 20 years just goes like straight down the drain. It's like he learned all of that and was just like the episode, or just like the thing where he takes the lightsaber and tosses it. That's literally what he does to all that information.
I don't know if they can give me a solid explanation as to how we go from the version of Luke Skywalker that we saw in the season finale to the guy in Last Jedi. I don't know if there's a way that they can do that. I hope there is. I don't know if I can buy it, because that's such a huge fall.
Because you go from a guy who was willing to like do anything to save people, like, you know what I mean? He's willing to just stick his neck out for anyone. And then you just go to like, his sister's in danger. Everybody's in danger. We need you, Luke. We need you back. Yeah, but you're almost like you're willing to let your sister and friends die. You know what I mean? He's like, where's Han? Huh?
Yeah. Chewie? He's like this unbelievable optimist.
Yeah.
In the original trilogy, like that, but it's just true to the core of his character. It's just who he is as a person. It's nothing to do with him being a Jedi. That's just who he is. Like there's a difference between that and things happening, later in life that would make him sort of question, just like the Mandalorian. Like he has these things, the Mandalorian grew up the child of the Watch, right? He had, this is the way, there was a certain way he believed was true, and the only true way to be a Mandalorian. Then he's exposed to some other things. It doesn't change who he is, but it just gives him a brand new perspective and helps him grow as a character and become that. That's not what we got in Last Jedi. Like this dude is like that's a whole different person. Like,
I mean, unless we are able to, unless they, like you said, they make a show called, the Jedi Academy, and we're able to see this whole rise of the First Order and what that does to Luke mentally, you know what I mean? Because he goes fighting one emperor to the next, you know what I mean? And maybe he's not prepared to take on that challenge, because back in the day, you had the whole Jedi Council, you know what I mean? They're over here, they were fighting a war, but now he's like it's Luke Skywalker. He is the Jedi Council, unless he's like, you know, by that time he's able to like, you know,
he should have had a council. There's a lot of things he should have had, but like, yeah, no, Trev. Okay, yes, it's his nephew. I get that it's his nephew, but like his dad was the most tyrannical, evil dude in the galaxy when he found out that Vader was his father, and he still believed in his heart of hearts that his father was good. Ben had been tempted by the dark side. He hadn't turned to the dark side. He was just had dark thoughts and temptations, and his first impulse was to kill him. Like, what? How does that happen? Like, I just need that explained, if it can possibly be explained in a logical fashion, like how that dude that is that optimistic about life all of a sudden, since that his nephew is having, is being tempted by the dark side, and his first reaction is to kill him. Like, that's I don't understand. I don't understand. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that. It seems part of the problem is Jedi are expected to care for mankind, but not a person. They can't be easy. That can't be easy to separate. That's the fault, though. That's what Qui-Gon was trying to get the Order to understand. That's what Qui-Gon understood. Like, you can be compassionate without growing, like having attachment. Like, being unwilling to let something go is not the Jedi way. Like, you can't have those types of attachments to where you can't, allow things to happen. Like if death is something that you're afraid of, like, you can't be, because it's just a natural part of life. Like, everything dies eventually, right? Yeah. But you have to be compassionate enough to care, to try and do what you can in order to save it, right? Like, Luke didn't even give Ben a chance. Like, he just decided, I'm gonna kill him.
Yeah, like, I'm gonna stand up boy and just give him like one little,
Yeah, and like, all right, so here. I mean, glad you're back. Oh, is that JBM cameo?
Yeah. The internet connection.
Dang, I just lost my train of thought. Okay, so here's the Jedi.
What I miss?
Jedi philosophy. We're having a philosophical debate about the Jedi.
Yeah.
And compassion, and why Qui-Gon understood the difference between compassion and attachment, and why he could be compassionate.
Technically, Qui-Gon's like the last Jedi.
Yeah, Qui-Gon is the GOAT, and I think Ahsoka is the successor. But we'll get into that only because of how the decisions that Luke Skywalker has made.
But I still can't forgive when he said, like, I didn't come here to free slaves,
Yeah, that's true.
I was like, what?
That's true. Well, he couldn't do that by himself. Well, maybe he could. Maybe he could. I don't know. Yeah, he still had his obligations to the Republic and to the Jedi, and to keeping Padme safe. I don't know. You're right, though. They should. Now, I think if he and Obi-Wan had come across Tatooine on a mission and had discovered that there were slaves, I think if they didn't have another mission, I think he probably would have tried to intervene in some capacity.
Well, were they really slaves, or did they have just more of a debt?
No, they're slaves. They're slaves.
They were slaves.
They had trackings in their skin.
Yeah,
couldn't leave the planet or they'll explode.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Those Rebel spoilers. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. So, like, that's something. If they were this is where the continuity doesn't pan out, because Force Ghost, Yoda, and Obi-Wan, and Qui-Gon should have all been consulting Luke in some capacity and helping him. And it's implied that it was when he was building the temple and rebuilding the Jedi Order. Like, he sought the advice of Yoda and Obi-Wan and things. And we see Yoda pop up in The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
So, like, it wasn't the first time Yoda popped up. Like, So having gone on a mission to learn from the mistakes of the Jedi in the past and how the Jedi were susceptible to the fall and to the corruption of the dark side and Palpatine and all of that. Like I can't rationalize based off of everything, all the evidence presented to me, how Luke could come to the conclusion that because Ben is having temptations,
Yeah,
the dark side,
that was
that he's gonna kill him. Like I just don't understand because
talking
that's
about Jake
like
Skywalker.
yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah, just like I
And
just
that is
don't
true
believe it.
because
That was just weird.
Did you guys like that Luke died at the end, or he just kind of faded away? It was just like one of those things where if he's supposed to be this grand master, you know what I mean, and he's able to project himself. I mean, I don't know. I just felt weird to me too, where it's just like he just
I didn't
died
think
of old
it was
age.
necessary for them to kill him in that episode.
Yeah, me neither. I didn't think it was necessary at all.
I think he could have showed up and helped
Ray train. He could have been training her the entire, ride.
That's why I don't like Rise. Like Rise, because Rise, all Rise did
Ray
was
doesn't need any training.
No. Huh?
I said Ray doesn't need any training.
That's true. She doesn't. She just has to swing that saber. That's all she did.
Yeah.
It's like
terrible form, by the way. He was swinging at the rock.
Well, she had that stick training. She was just using that her little staff.
Because I really did like Ray in The Force Awakens, but then it was just like.
Yeah, I mean, we were also supposed to get Force Ghost Anakin in the sequel trilogy, but they decided not to.
Rise. Yeah, I think like for the
Trevorrow had Force Ghost of Anakin appearing in Episode 9 in his original script. But he also had a bunch of prequels references, which J.J. Abrams didn't like because he didn't like the prequels. So that's why there was no mention of anything that happened during the prequels.
I don't even think J.J. even knows who Darth Plagueis was, because I remember at a convention.
No, he doesn't.
One of the questions, people was like, "Is Snoke Darth Plagueis?" And J.J. was like, "Who?"
Who?
Pretty much.
Yep.
He didn't say who, but just his facial expression. I was like, yeah, he doesn't know who.
Yeah, no, they don't.
That was frustrating.
They gave him a job, man. They just like, just slapping the guy's name on it. He makes a lot of money. Boom, there you go. That's usually how it is. Hollywood. Yeah. But I mean, but like, I mean, you see what happens when you put the series in the hands of somebody who actually cares. You know what I mean? And you get the result of The Mandalorian. When somebody
I mean, it's not even like Filoni doesn't have a bias of any era of Star Wars. Like he's just a fan, and so like because he loves it, he loves Star Wars, he loves these stories, and he knows how much it matters to the fans and to George. Like he takes great care of it. Same with John Favreau. Like they clearly understand how much this means, and they take great pride in the storytelling and continuity, and they aren't afraid to pull things from Legends and from the prequels and from any era of Star Wars, and that's really all we ever wanted. With the sequel trilogy, like it's a weird thing to proclaim something to be the end of the Skywalker saga and not incorporate elements from all 6 previous films. Like that's an odd thing to do. Like, yeah, I mean, I grew up watching the prequels. Like I grew up on the prequels. I saw the original trilogy. I fell in love with the original trilogy before 99 when the A Phantom Menace came out, and I fell in love with that and the prequels, and then the video games and everything, and like them pulling all of these different elements into this Mandalorian show has just been so rewarding, because it doesn't feel like fan service. It just feels like it's
natural.
They've made it an integral part of the story. Like it's not just it's not a cameo. It's like, no, this is important. Like, we're putting this in here because this is going to help further the storyline. It's continuity. You know what I'm saying? Like, continuity over fan service every day, all day, twice on Sunday, right? And you know, right now, honestly, is what's done is done. It's I don't, like I said, the sequel trilogy, I don't think you can change anyone's opinion on it, whether or not they like it or dislike it or kind of lukewarm, whatever, however they feel about it. You're not going to change anyone's opinion on it. But I think going forward, they've got a good platform with this Mandalorian show. They've got a good platform with Rebels and with the Ahsoka show. You've set up a good platform for characters that are outside of the Skywalker saga, with Din Djarin, with Bo-Katan, with even Ahsoka, Grogu, all of these characters that can and should possibly be around after the sequel trilogy. And then, I mean, I don't dislike characters from the sequel trilogy. I just don't like how their stories were handled. Like, I don't have an issue with Rey. I don't have an issue with Poe or Finn or anybody that they introduce. It's just how the story itself as a whole was handled. I just felt like it wasn't handled with the most care. But I wouldn't be opposed to seeing these characters pop up in other stories later down the road. I would never be opposed to that. Like, but as long as their stories are fleshed out, well thought out, planned, and there's a clear path forward, I'm okay with it. I think that, and I think it's crazy to retcon it because for the simple fact that there are people who really enjoyed the sequel trilogy, and I would never, like, there was a lot of people that hated the prequels, and I would have been hurt if George Lucas and Lucasfilm and Disney decided to retcon the prequel trilogy. Like, so I don't want to rob anybody of their joy. If they enjoyed the sequels, then I'm happy you found enjoyment for the sequels. I don't want to take that from you. Like, I've got my issues with it, but I don't have a problem with anyone who likes it. You know what I'm saying? So like that for me, that for me alone is why I would never hope that they don't retcon it. Like, for the simple, like, I can think back to every single one of the episodes or to all of the Star Wars celebrations where all those little girls are dressed up as Rey. All those people going to Disneyland dressed up as Finn and Kylo and all the characters, right? I don't want to rob them of their joy. Like, they clearly love those characters. Like, I would be completely 110% opposed to them ever retconning that trilogy of films because, like, now we're robbing kids of joy. Like, that's crazy to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, all because we didn't enjoy it doesn't mean like it has to be removed. But what we can do is figure out a way, or in hope that Lucasfilm takes a step back, like they said they're going to do, figure out what the future of these characters looks like and what the future of this saga and franchise looks like, and let's bring all this stuff full circle. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's move forward together. Let's bring Rey in. Let's bring Finn in and make him a Jedi.
Make him a Jedi. Yes, I would love that.
You make him a Jedi. You give him his own story. Like, give me something with Finn, whether it be a book or a comic that kind of fleshes out his own adventures post the Rise of Skywalker, but a solo story, not tied to Rey, not tied to Poe. Like, give him his own adventure where he figures out who he is.
Exactly.
Give him an identity. And his name no longer be Finn. Like, let him, figure out his identity and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
Kind of like what Rey did. I'm getting rid of the whole Palpatine and just I'm going straight. I'm a Skywalker. So like, Finn basically.
I was a Palpatine.
So like, Finn, what's that? His numbers from his stormtrooper. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Give me that story where he goes back, where he's basically trying to trace his lineage. You know what I mean? Find out where he came from, where his family's at, and find out his true name, his true identity. And now,
I mean, you've got this opportunity. You've got a golden opportunity, like you say. You like, diversity and inclusion. Like, if you think about it, Finn is like literally the story of African Americans, right? Like,
Yeah.
you brought you have we have no idea who or what our identities are prior to slavery, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, sure, you can trace your DNA back to certain, areas of continents or countries in Africa, but there's states, there's tribes. Like, you can't directly trace your
Yeah.
lineage all the way back to someone's home address.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And like
hey,
Zimbabwe or something like that.
yeah,
Like how some people can
you
be
know what
like,
I'm saying?
I have a
So
cousin in Ireland. You know what I mean? Like the white lineage is a lot better. They can trace all the way back to being like, I have 2 cousins that live in London and blah blah blah. Us, we can't say that because there literally nobody had
there's no record of it. Like,
nobody cared about it.
yeah, it's property. Your property, and he's property of the First Order, right? So there's parallels, but you can come up with a cool, creative way to give him an identity, and that would be something that we would cling to, like we would attach to. Like, I would love to see that. Like, that would be amazing to see for his character, and then going forward, that's who he is now. Like, he's someone with his own identity. He's someone that is confident in who he is as a person, and it's an inspirational story that I think a lot of people can get behind.
Yeah.
Same with Rey. Like, I still feel like they missed a golden opportunity with her being a Palpatine, for the simple fact that Palpatine is the one who destroyed the Jedi. Her being the descendant of Palpatine and rebuilding the Jedi Order, I love the duality of that. I love the poetry of that. Like, she's by single-handedly undoing all of his efforts, right? Like, that is a cool story to me. Like, she doesn't need to she can undo the evil of her lineage, of her name, by simply being a good person.
Yeah.
Right. And accepting that she is a Palpatine, but she is not the legacy of her grandfather. Right.
Yeah.
Same as Luke is not the legacy of his father, Darth Vader. Like, they are 2 different people. Right. That's important. Like, we don't have to be the we are not our ancestors. We don't have to be, if they are all because they're evil people in your family doesn't mean you inherently evil. You know what I'm saying? Like, all because people do wrong doesn't mean you're inherently evil. Like, all because your father is a diabolical person doesn't necessarily make you one, So, like, that's an important thing, and it's an important life lesson that they can do with that character. And I would like to see them do that. Like, Poe, I feel like Poe had the best character development, because at least he went from being like the hotshot pilot to more of a leader, who had to learn. I think his arc in The Last Jedi was the best of all the characters, because he made a brash decision and sent his forces in to a no-win scenario. Most of them died, they perished, and he had to deal with that. He had to live with consequences. I like that happened in The Last Jedi. And that
kind of reminded me of an episode I just watched, The Rebels, where Hera, they had to get that and then she was like, no, keep going, and like got that whole crew destroyed. Like,
right. Right, because you as a great pilot can pull this stuff off doesn't mean everyone in your command can. And he had to learn that the hard way, and I like that. Like, and I hope they continue that type of character development for those characters. But while all that's happening, and they're figuring out who they are as characters and as humans, we've got the Chiss ascendancy, we've got the Grisk, we've got Ezra, we got Ahsoka, we've got Grogu, we got all these great characters that also are on their own personal journeys, and at some point they can be those stories can connect. And I think when they do connect, then that trilogy of films that we get is going to be one of the most amazing trilogies of films, or at least we hope that everyone, or at least the majority of people, will get behind. And I think that's my hope. I feel confident with Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni being the creative leaders over at Lucasfilm, and you know, Kevin Feige also coming over to help as well, gives me confidence that they can continue down this path that I think the majority of fans is united on in liking The Mandalorian. And everyone came out buzzing over the news of the new shows that they've announced for Disney Plus and for the new movies. Like, I don't think there was anything that was announced that people were like, "Oh, come on," you know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
I think we're in a good space. Let's just hope that we can continue down and they can find some more creative talent that will help further these stories as well.
Yeah.
But hey, we just hit the 2-hour mark. So any closing remarks for you guys?
No, I'm excited for the future of Star Wars.
Awesome. Me too. Don, thank you for joining. You got anything else you want to
add? No, pretty good. 2 hours. Well, we could probably save the question for the Kenobi series for the next time.
Yeah. We could probably talk about the Kenobi series actually next Sunday. Thank you all for joining. Be sure to check in Friday. I'll do 8 p.m. Let's say 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time Friday evening. We'll do
Christmas
a
Day.
recap. Yeah, we'll do a recap of the first episode of The Gallery season 2. So make sure on Friday y'all check that out because we're going to talk about what is discussed in The Gallery. It'd be a brief episode. If you want to, you can always come back later. I know Friday is Christmas, but that episode is premiering. I want to talk about it. We'll probably continue the conversation that Sunday as well. Saturday night we've got the cookout. Once again, we'll be recapping Soul, and what's the movie?
Chadwick Boseman's
Ma Rainey. So Soul, Ma Rainey, and Wonder Woman. We'll be recapping all 3 of those movies on Saturday on the cookout at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Sunday we'll have another episode of Star Wars Sunday. So, if you can make it to all 3, we definitely appreciate you. Always appreciate the support. Hope you have a wonderful holiday. If you can't make these episodes, thank you, and we will see you in the new year, fellas. As I always say, peace, love, blessings.